Hey, Rambro. Jackbox is capturing GC. They will be changing his name and putting him in a box. Jackbox. People who make Jackbox, are you? I forget the name of your studio. Is it just Jackbox Studio? Hold on. Nobody tell me. I'm looking it up. It is Jackbox Games. Hey, Jackbox Games. Just, putting this out there. If you ever need any voice talent to like narrate for one of your little games, I love Jackbox. I would love to voice a Jackbox game, even if that one turns out to be the weak one of the bunch that nobody really likes playing because it takes too much work, or like it's like one of those like social deduction games that like for some reason people don't like playing. I don't know. But I'll voice something. I come highly recommended. I'm telling you, I could do it. Good evening, everybody. Sorry about streaming so late today. I had to go out to get writing done, and very happily, I'm very happy to say that I actually got all the writing I was going to do today done. You know the whole thing, you aim to do a lot of work in one day and then you only get like half of it done, which is still a lot, but like, you're still kind of in your head, you're like, damn though, I could have done it all though. If I was a little bit more like, focused and I had like a better workflow and I knew what I was doing more. But today I got it all done. There was like a brief moment today where I was like, I think we can call it here. But no, I got distracted from not write. Like, so sometimes I get distracted while writing and then I end up not writing. This time I got distracted from not writing by writing. It was like the opposite happened where I said, okay, yeah, I'll get up now. And then I just kept going. Like I spaced out after I decided I was going to stop. And when I spaced back in, I was like, oh, right. Yeah, let me write this. And then I just did it. It was cool. Let me go ahead and boot up the game since we don't have much time here today. I would like to say, I don't know if I called this. Oh, my green screen is... I don't know if I called this, the last time we streamed. I thought Jackbox was next month. No, I'm leaving to go play Jackbox. I'm not streaming it anywhere. I'm just gonna go somewhere to play Jackbox with friends. But I wanted to be specific because it's more eye-catching if you're just if you're just specific about what it is you're going to do. As far as Jackbox next month, I think we're still doing that. I have to organize it like officially with people because I have not done that yet. But I'm thinking it'll either be the day after the Game Awards or like the Sunday or Saturday of that weekend. But we will see. We will see. I'm currently trying to get quite a few things done before the end of next month, for obvious reasons, because I'm planning to move. So part of it is ideally I would like to have a job lined up by the time I move. It's not a hard requirement. I'm sure I'll find work more or less around the same time. If I don't get it before, I'll probably get it like literally the week after the first week of the year. But we're trying to get stuff done. So I'm trying to get a job before then. I gotta make a couple of changes to my resume before I start sending it out. And then I'm going to start doing that. I need a plan for the birthday stream so I can try to raise some money for moving. Because it would be nice to not have to pay for the moving expenses if I can handle it. Which wouldn't be... I looked into it. It wouldn't cost me a whole lot, thankfully. But, you know... I figured a lot of other people are out there raising money for all this kind of stuff, and I was like, maybe I can do that. I got a copy of PSX Dragon Quest 7 in the mail today. Yes! Hell yes! Hell yeah! Enjoy it. It's good. Very good game. Very good game. You've probably seen my video on Dragon Quest 7. You know how I feel about Dragon Quest 7, which is to say I feel pretty good about it. You know, but just enjoy it. My best advice to someone who's playing the PS1 version of Dragon Quest 7 is to take it slow and just don't try to like get it done really fast. The faster you try to beat Dragon Quest 7, the more it's gonna burn you out. Oh yeah, how much did it cost you? Because I got my copy pretty cheap. When I bought my copy of Dragon Quest 7, I got it for like 20 bucks. But again, it's my fault that they're more expensive. That might not be true, but I'll take credit for it. To this day, I still think it's really funny that when I bought the Dragon Quest remakes on DS, when I bought those games for the videos I was making, they were appraised, like they were valued at like $20 to $40. Okay? After my Dragon Quest videos, somebody told me that they were super expensive. And I got really confused because I was like, no, they're not. I bought all of those. And then I looked it up and they went up. And I think like Dragon Quest, I still kick myself in the ass for this. I did not, I emulated Dragon Quest 6 on DS because I was worried that I was spending too much money on the videos. I owned Dragon Quest 4 and 5 on DS, and as 6 was coming to me in the mail, I canceled the order because I was worried about spending too much money. And I went from and now I don't own a copy. At the time, it was like $40, $47, something like that I was paying for it. And now a copy of Dragon Quest 6 on DS is like $400 or some crazy thing like that. Absolutely wild. That is like one of my smart consumer remorse. That is like, what do you call it when it's like buyer's remorse, but it's like you feel remorseful that you didn't buy it earlier? That's what it was for me. I should have just bought the game, and I should have just like tanked the $40. I almost had CIB for $61, but I got sniped on eBay. I got a beat up professionally researched manualless copy for $40. Oh, good. That means the remake announcement has tanked the price, which is good. I'm so glad. Like legitimately, I'm happy. Oh, god damn it. I don't want to gain XP without him. We have to go back. Not completely, that's fine. If it went from like $200 to like $40, I'm gonna consider that a win. Straight up. 60, 80 is still reasonable. I would not spend $100 on the PlayStation 1 version of Dragon Quest 7. Maybe that's just me. but I don't think you should pay that much for a video game. I don't think you should pay that much for a PS1 game ever. I also think retro game prices are kind of absurd. Like, legitimately, I think the retro games market is like a really good example of like speculators and scalpers like ruining a hobby. So like, Nintendo Switch, is that the new pricing for Reimagined? Because I'm not talking about Reimagined. Reimagined can be priced at standard game pricings. I'm not gonna blink, you know. I would not be surprised, nor would I have strong feelings about it unless it was like, I don't like $70 games still to this day. And there have been a lot of games that I haven't bought because they're 70. Like, for instance, Metroid Prime 4 seems like I might like it, because I don't play a lot of Metroid, but every time I do, I have a good time, so I was considering buying it. But if Metroid Prime 4 is like $70, $80, I'm not doing it. I'm not spending that kind of money on that. I would be really curious about replaying Animal Crossing New Horizons again on the Switch 2 and getting a brand new Switch 2 copy. Just to have it like physically, you know, have a Switch 2 copy physically. But if that's like $80, $70, I'm not doing that either. I bought Like a Dragon. I'll be totally honest. The reason I bought Infinite Wealth at $70 is because it is technically my job to cover those games. So, like, if I was not covering it on YouTube, right? And I wasn't like a YouTuber with like I don't have a huge audience, but like that's a considerable amount of people, right? Like that's a considerable number of people. I'm a decently sized like small channel, if that makes sense. If I wasn't that, I would not buy the newest Like a Dragon game to play it right away because, you know, out of like any sense of FOMO or like, oh, I gotta play the new one right away. I would look at the price tag and I would be like, hell no. Hell no. I'm not doing that shit. I'll wait for a sale. And like that's genuinely how I feel. We gotta go. Oh, she's dead again! Shit. But yeah. I wouldn't do it. The family plan has been good to the Burnout Brothers. I mean, it has. See, that's the other thing is like, if we were really organized, if we were all really organized on our Steam family plan, right? We would just split the cost of any video game that we were all interested in. And it would be like immediately cheaper for all of us. We couldn't all play it at the same time, but at the very least, you know, we can go halvesies on it. If we were more organized. But like that takes like, that's not even like a, oh, we should do that. It's more of like a, cause like it's such a pain in the ass to organize that kind of thing. It's like, okay, PayPal me money or whatever. And then you gotta like split it. And then it's like, well, who's gonna own the copy for real? because somebody still needs to be the owner of the copy, and then it's like, oh, but then I'm giving you money, and it's like, you know, this is kind of stupid. Like, actually, this is kind of dumb, but it's kind of, it would be kind of cool. It would be cool if Steam had a way to, if you are in a Steam family plan, to split the cost of a game among the accounts, and then in the event that you were no longer part of the family plan and you wanted to play that game, you would have to pay the remainder of the cost. Does that make sense? Like, whatever that game was priced at, they would deduct the price you had paid in the split from the full price. And then you would just pay the remainder to have, like, your own copy. And that would just be the case for everybody who split that copy of the game. But you can't, the reason they wouldn't do it is because, like, you can't, programming that would be, like, the worst. Programming that would be awful. Because you have to grant, you would be granting a license that you could then revoke based on certain parameters. And I think it would actually, like, it might actually, depending on how it checks for the license and it makes those checks, like, I think it would actually worsen the performance of the Steam app or the Steam program. So, like, you probably wouldn't want to do that. And also, yeah, like, you know, if you want your own copy of the game, or, like, you know, just pay for the full fucking price, bro. And, like, just tank the fact that one of you owns the copy of the game. Like, just get over it, basically. But yeah, you know, like if you are in a Steam family plan, right, with other people in, like, your household, for example. Like, let's say you and all of your roomies, right? You and all of your roommates are all on the same Steam family plan, right? You can just divvy up the... You can just divvy it up. Just split it. Cause like if you think about it, right? Like, usually when you have roommates, none of you have the same schedule. Like, sometimes your days line up, but a lot of times they don't. So, like, you literally know when each of you are home and when each of you is going to be playing something. And, like, you could probably, I mean, you know, because you're, like, so close in proximity to each other, right? Like, you could probably very easily just, like, sort out all that. You know, it's like, okay, you play it first. If you're not playing it, you know, obviously if nobody's around, go ahead and somebody else can play it or whatever. I don't know, just be like adults. Just be adults. Just be adults. Just, like, you know, share like adults can, you know? Sometimes I hear stories of people being like, damn, like, I really want to play this game, but my friend's playing it, and I really want to tell him to stop playing it so that I can play it because we're on the same plan or whatever. And I'm like, it's not that I don't understand, because I totally get it, right? Like, you just bought a new game and now your friend's playing it and you're like, fuck, I really want to, you know, that's my latest hyperfixation, right? But, you know, like, you can always just do something else. Now, if your friend's been playing it for, like, a week straight after you bought it and, like, is not letting you, like, is not, you know, whatever, you know, then you can go ahead and talk to him. But I always feel like if it were me and I was like, I bought a new game and then I have a friend that's playing it and I really want to play it, right? Like, I would probably just go do something else while they're playing it, and then, like, when they're done, or, like, on a day they're not playing it, I'll go do it. But if it's been, like, a day or two and they're still kind of, like, in it, and they haven't kind of, like, stopped playing it, then I'd probably be like, hey man, I want to play the game. Is it cool if you hop off? But like otherwise, it's like, I'm not hard pressed to play video game. I killed it. Excellent. I don't know if that makes sense or not. It makes sense to me. But I'm also just not like, I don't know. I have plenty of things to do. I have plenty of other interests I can pursue. But yeah, just be organized. I guess now that Cullen and I... Oh, well, I shouldn't say this yet. I don't know if Cullen wants people to know. But the plan is to move in with Cullen. So I guess like if Cullen and I are living together, I guess that makes it a lot easier. Right? Like we could probably organize that much easier. You've hinted in the podcast? Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's been too tight-lipped about it. Fuck! We just got here! Oh, Dragon Quest II. I love you so much. You piss me off. I like that animation. Ah. Of course. Well, she was kind of behind, so this actually worked out. It's fine. We have to get there without dying. Oh. You're the go, but I'm not trying any further jokes. Yeah. I'm okay saying it here. And on the VOD, because by the time this VOD comes up, we'll probably already either be moved in together or whatever. But yeah, I guess like we could do our family plan a little bit better. I think this is where the Prince of Cana goes on his little arc.
Tour of the place. Hello. It's time to play.
The town does indeed have a certain charm. Let us each explore it at our leisure a while.
Okay. What up, bro? I sense something disturbing in your aura. Thou art dogged by a most unfortunate fate. Yeah, buddy, I'm sure. Pray do not converse with the fellow within. How do I talk with him? He's like... I don't see him. Oh, is there a mini medal here? Hang on. I feel like you would put a mini medal right here where the arch like covers this. Hey Parano, tis most idyllic, would you not agree? I think we were right to listen to Caradoc to stop here a while. Yes, you're right. It is very beautiful. It is very beautiful. I'm going into the item store / weapon shop. Oh, this is exactly like a hobby store that I used to go to is like laid out. Where it's like, there's like a downstairs and there's like a bunch of like merchandise downstairs, but then you go upstairs and there's like a hobby room. Magical robes. She kind of needs more defense, to be honest, but we're broke at the moment. I've heard tell that the beasts of the brine are resistant to incantations of fire, ice, and wind. You have to rely on lightning magic. Nonsense, I say. Fuck, Or otherwise, should you meet with a merchant proffering tasty looking arms upon your trials, be sure to post them post haste. Your seafaring will be that bit smoother for it. Okay. How many tombola tickets do I have? I have 15 tombola tickets. I forgot that we were gonna go gambling. You're on! I am! You know what I noticed? You know what I just realized? We could probably save scum the tombola raffles. We can save scum the crap out of that. We should do that. I don't want to talk to him just yet. I want to stay exploring. More tombola. We're gonna have so many fucking tombola tickets. I don't know, we already had 15. That's a magic key door. We should do that. We should do that. We can painstakingly save scum it where we don't spend 10 at a time and we just like gamble away one at a time until we get the prize we want. Or we can just like smash in with like 10. We should do that. Let us do that. I think I will. I think I will. I think I will save scum the tombola tickets. I can send you the listing, but the jewel case is cracked and a sticker residue left over from a price sticker. Still glad I didn't spend 80 plus. No worries. I actually have I have 2 copies of Dragon Quest VII on PS1. Actually, I have a Japanese or PAL copy, as it were. I have a Japanese copy of Dragon Quest 1 on PS1, and this room's going to be very important to us in a second. And I have an English copy as well. I have 2. Or that's me, but not Burr. This man has a seat of wisdom, but doth he have mini metals on the coast of his home, his abode? My Middle English is not up to date at the moment, ironically. Anger avails not even righteousness to be enraged by the wicked is lose part of oneself to them. All such negative sentiments, anger, spite, bitterness, do ever return to haunt us. Truly do we reap whatsoever we sow. I mean, I agree with you, old man, but sometimes rage is necessary. I'm a big proponent of rage in the right places. You know? I think anger is a powerful tool that people can utilize in efficient ways. As long as they're angry for the right reasons. I think a disdain towards negative, or what we deem negative emotions, is sort of the poison that is killing society. We're so adverse to feeling bad things that we truly do become very, very unable to deal with hardship and struggle in that way. Only the 3DS version of Dragon Quest VII. I think I own a copy of that one.
Done me a world of good. The view from here is simply stunning.
Let me look at my shelf. Oh my god!
May this be a lesson to you all, naught but despair.
Whoa, who's this lady?
Await those who blaspheme.
Back, fiend! Thou shalt proceed no further, even if it should cost me my life.
Nah, we got this.
Need not come to that.
No, it need not.
Though this fellow does look rather formidable. We must keep our wits about us, cousins.
Wait! You think yourselves capable of slaying me? That'll keep me laughing long after you're gone!
Ah, I forgot to heal. Well, that's not good. That's not good at all. That's very bad. We're probably gonna have to auto load, like save do an auto save load here. But that's okay. We'll try to like power through it. Nope. It's a wash. I'm just gonna treat it like a wash. Oh, just hit him. There you go. If I watch a feel bad movie, I come over and think I'm having a rough time, but not that rough. But also, like, you know. Wow. I don't want to continue from the church. I don't have a lot of money. So we'll just clear out the town again. We'll just clear out the town again. First you get washed before you get clean. It's not bad. It's not a bad saying. You gotta get washed before you get clean. I respect it. Well, we also gotta redistribute the seeds we've encountered. Just checking. Seed of Defense, Paranel, take those. Seed of Wisdom, again, Paranel, take those. Paradox, you take those. Gawain will take the luck. Cause he needs it. And then we gotta go to the inn. I think of it for fighting games. That's fair. Should be better for us now. Okay, perfect. And it will not allow us to load from an autosave because it doesn't want us to get soft locked. So we will make another save. By the way, Shrunken Shrine, thank you for the follow. Followed me 3 days ago when I was not streaming. I'm assuming you caught the VOD. Well, welcome in. I didn't know there was a... Oh, there was... I didn't know about that. Discord in chat. Hello. Hello. Where the hell am I going? Right. My man, Caradoc.
I must say, this stroll through town has done me a world.
We done this already. All right. Flying knee. Do I have kabuff? It's time for kabuffing. It's time for mutual kabuffing. And some sapping as well. Really? You got like a whole thing? Don't even dare. Don't you dare. Another flying knee. Another heal. And another sap. I would have lost my mind. Okay, we got that going. Let's muster strength. HP's pretty good. Let's do a kabuff. And let's try to dazzle him. I'm curious to see if dazzle works here. No way! Dazzle worked? You got dazzled? Oh, your ass is not surviving. Our healers are unable to heal. Or top off our defense, which is bad. Miracle Slash will heal him, so I can mitigate some of that. Soothing Song is some healing. I hate that they keep dying. No. No. You're kidding. Okay. I'm learning my lesson. I'm learning my lesson. Okay. We have to go. We have to go. We gotta go to Alfgard. We gotta go to Alfgard. We gotta go do Al. I really want to unlock her first though, because I know she's coming. So instead, let's go ahead and go to where's my boat? X marks the spot. Ba-da-dum, 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 ba-da-dum. Instant. I don't know how Frizzle did not kill you doing 174 damage, but I will accept it. And I'd rather just smack you. If sea slimes aren't gonna take that much damage, I'm just gonna hit them. Helm Splitter works great against them, thankfully. They do so much damage.
You brought this on yourself.
Die, sea slime.
Oh.
Do not kill Para now, please. How the fuck?
That was close.
I am in your debt.
Got it. Right now, I'm still trying to gauge like what the enemy difficulty is around here, like how strong they are. Oh, that's a secret spot. Almost missed it. Almost didn't notice it. Almost. 626 gold coins. It's a leather dress. Did we ever turn in the mini medals that we've collected? $28 medals. I think we did. Nose for treasure. No more treasure. We've done it. Can we get Puppy Girl a suit of armor? I wish. Ooh, sparkly spot. What luck? A seed of luck. And a seed of strength. Go down to... Oh, Jesus. Go down to this island. I want to kill the boulder first. The boulder is much more terrifying. Because of that crackle nonsense. Perfect. This is very loud in my ear. Let's bring that down a bit. Such a fun gimmick for Ashley Graham. Oh, because you can put her in the armor? Yeah. Can you die? Good lord. Also, Gawain's attack damage is huge. Unless the axe that he's wearing has like a defense penetrating quality. No. To be determined. I feel like that rock is a place. It wasn't. I'm just hallucinating. Okay. Could this be the place of which the fisherman in Zahan spoke? The rocks certainly seem deadly enough. Even without mermaids lure them ashore, any fisherman subject would be in grave danger. Oh, there's no voice acting on this, but I also cannot skip through the text. It is auto-playing. Fiends! Yes. Excellent. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? I think... Okay. Are you a beast? Are mermen beasts? I think we should... We should do a kabuff here. And maybe a kasap. You are a beast! Oh my god. What a fucking read. Yes! Okay, you're gonna cattle prod, and you two are gonna be on healing duties. After you kasap everybody one more time.
How does it feel?
This is impossible! Ah! Okay. Fine. Fine. We'll go to the craggy cave. We'll go to the land of Dragon Quest 1. Fine. I get it. I understand. I understand. So much easier when I only had one party member to worry about. Anyway. I think I should explore. Definitely think I should explore this side first before going south. So I think we'll just keep going east towards coal. I think that'll be better. Oh, I was low walking. I was like, why is this taking forever? Stone throw should kill them. Yeah. I was also concerned about over leveling in this area, but clearly that's not going to happen. Call of the Wild, do it. Oh, sorry. Hasn't been a long day. It's been a very chill day, so I'm very like laid back at the moment. Usually I'm a lot more animated on days where I'm a lot more active, which makes sense, but like sometimes I just like I go out and I have like a very nice time getting work done. And then I get home and it's not that I'm tired, it's that I'm like in a relaxed state. And I think that's the thing that sometimes people, when I tell people about it, they're like, oh, you're just like fatigued, you're tired, man, you've been working or whatever. And I'm like, no, it doesn't really feel like exhaustion. It feels like I'm like so comfortable that I cannot like that I can't function. Like I need a little bit of discomfort. I need a little bit of discomfort. Like I need a sense of that, of like I need a sense of being in a place to do a task or having some amount of like discomfort so that like I don't become so relaxed that I don't feel like doing anything. Which I think is like why I've gotten into the habit of like getting dressed, even though like sometimes I don't leave the house. Even if I don't leave the house, I always get dressed as if I'm going to leave the house. Like right now, what I'm wearing, like, yeah, I did leave the house today, but I would have been wearing the same exact thing if I hadn't left the house that day. Like I hate walking around the house in my pajamas. I hate it. And it comes from that place of like, I don't want to be too relaxed, because when I'm too relaxed, if I'm too relaxed, I won't do anything. There's got to be a mini medal or some shit here. Why would you put this here? I mean, for flavor, obviously, but like I feel like being able to walk back here means I could do something. Sounds like how I need to sit on the edge of my seat during fighting games. Yeah, a little bit, yeah. It's like I cannot be, I need to be like more, I need to be like not in like a relaxation state in order to feel like I'm doing something. And I hate just sitting back and doing nothing unless I'm tired. Like if I'm actually like, you know, unless the point is to be relaxed, then yeah. But otherwise, I hate it. I don't like that feeling. These aren't enough like boosts to change out my equipment. So we're gonna keep what we have and save our money. Where's the exit? We will save our money for the next shop. Or for one of like the really big shops, one of the really expensive shops that we've been to in the places that we say. Oh, hang on. Now that we're here, where is it? 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 There is a tombola thing there. You need the second tombola place. Oasis. Oh, you know what? I think Oasis has the save point right next to it too. Yes. Loyalty card. That's the one we want. We're going to test our theory. Rather, we're going to test to see how this randomizes and how we can change the randomization of it. Wow, that was a terrible, terrible, terrible roll. So now that I'm upset of that terrible, terrible roll, we will venture forth. Now I'm curious to see if it's the same exact roll. It's not. It is not the same roll. Okay. Okay. So so we can this does not take that long to do, by the way. This is fairly quick. Ooh, we got a gold one this time. Amazing stuff. A silver platter. I mean, that's nice, but I'm not really working towards that. Continuing peak. Yeah, we're gambling. We're save scumming our gambling. Because I want the loyalty card. Nope. I wonder what the odds are. Nobody tell me. I wish I could say Scumma Casino. Me too, my friend. Me too. It just randomizes every time. I feel like they did that on purpose. They put that save point right next to it. They put the save point right next to it. I think they knew. Forgive me for saying. You know, maybe I'm tinfoil hatting this, but I think they knew people would be doing this. This might end up being a 2-hour stream of me just save scumming for tombola prizes, but you know, sometimes the streams are. What was that about? You can get like, huh? You get like gacha style upgrades? It might be good that I gave him all the luck seeds. Also, how does that work? You rolled the tombola so hard that an 11th one came out and they let you like count it? I don't think that's how raffling works. I don't think you get to like get an extra one because you were like good about it or whatever. How does that work? How does that work within the context of the world? You roll it so hard. You roll it so hard that an 11th one comes out, which by the way is not how a tombola machine functions. But then like the guy running the raffle is like, "Whoa, you got like another one to come out? Yeah, man, you get to replace this one with something else." Whoa, 2 gold. Damn. If we had gotten like the free upgrade. If we had gotten the free upgrade, Grangos feeds GC's Kaiji's addiction. You know what's cool? I believe Dirtbag Mahjong just came out today. Or on the 26th or something. Hold on. I have it wish listed. Just give me a second. Dirtbag. Sorry, it comes out on the 26th. Comes out on the 26th, and I'm really excited to play it. I might stream it instead of Dragon Quest sometime this week when it comes out, or the day it comes out. Although I think it comes out, no, it comes out Wednesday. It comes out the day before Thanksgiving. But yeah, I wanna stream that because it's a single player mahjong game, single player Riichi mahjong, and I'm about it. Lame. I should have realized I could save scum these sooner. I should have realized I could have saved scum sooner. I would have just done that. I would have just done that like way sooner. But also I'm surprised that even though they got rid of the casinos, Yuji Horii didn't do the thing that he always does, which is like the first time you gamble in one of his games, supposedly it's easier to win the jackpots. Supposedly. I read that somewhere that he said that in an interview or something. Which makes all the times that I included the times that I won the jackpot in Dragon Quest games in my videos really funny. But also I never won the first time. Not once. So I don't know where I read that or where he said it. They're gonna get upgraded. Oh, what the fuck? I don't want 4 silver platters, man. Unless they're worth a lot. Are they worth a lot? Are they worth a lot of money? Because, like, I don't need a loyalty card if I'm rich. You know what I mean? No, they're worth crap. They're worth Garbola. Garbola being served as prizes at the tombola. Give me the loyalty card. I don't even care if it's only a 10% discount. Ooh. How you gonna tell me you're gonna give me 3 gold rolls and an upgrade chance, and you're not gonna upgrade my gold, any of the gold ones, into dragon ones? That's so cold. Cold and messed up and wrong and like morally bankrupt and awful. Yeah. I wonder what the man. I really want to know what the odds are on your guy doing like the free upgrade thing. Like, is it based off of Gawain's luck stat, or is it like the cumulative luck stat of the party, or what? Does the 4th party member make it easier because she would add her luck stat to the group? So like, what's the right way to go about this? Do I wait until I get her to do the tombola at all? You know, do I skip the first tombola because, you know, the prizes are probably not as good, right? How many tombola tickets are in the game? How often does a shop give you additional tombola tickets for selling stuff? Could you feasibly farm tombola tickets to do this legitimately if, like, you had a parasite in your brain and, like, wanted to waste your time like that? I have so many questions. What are the odds? Now I'm more curious than immersed. I care more about knowing than I care about the mystery of it. What are the odds of getting the dragon tombola prize? Like the top tombola prize? Cuz like gold prizes don't actually seem that difficult to get. We've gotten gold quite a few number of times. Case in point. So I'm thinking. So I'm thinking the dragon one can't be that much harder, just slightly less. So like, this isn't at all how statistics works, by the way. A lot of people think it's like, oh, you know, eventually it'll land on something else. And it's like, that's not really how statistics work. You can measure the statistical probability of it like a coin toss is 50-50, right? So for a coin toss, you can kind of like you kind of like think about it from the perspective of like, what are the odds that it's going to be the same result 5 times in a row, right? You can probably statistically analyze that. But when you go from only having like 2 results to like 4 or 5 results, I'm pretty sure that stops being like a thing you can track of like, oh, how long until it hits like the top prize if there's only 5 different prizes you can get. And it's like, that's not like, you also have to calculate like the fact that you're getting 10 at a time. So out of those 10, what is the probability of one of them being it? And it's like, it's the same probability for each individual result. And then you try to like compound that and be like, okay, but like, what are the odds that like eventually one of them will be whatever? And the odds are the odds that already exist. Because every time you play is a separate statistical like thing. But I think like once you have multiple like possible results, once you go from 2 results to like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 and so on, it becomes harder and harder to gauge like the supposed eventuality, because the reality is that it could never land on it. The reality is that there is a chance that it could just never happen, because each time you do the tombola, right, is a separate like set of percentages of it showing up. At least that's how I understand statistics. Because I remember being on like forums and people arguing about stats and probability. And like nobody knew how it worked, but I was able to piece together that it's like, they're kind of like, people used to argue, it's like, oh, you know, you have to like, every time you do it, you know, it's more likely to happen again. And it's like, no. And then people would go, no, it's always going to be the same every single time. And they're right, but also like there is some statistical math that exists to calculate like how often something can happen. But as it turns out, is like the more options that are available to happen, the less meaningful that data becomes, if I remember correctly. So you might as well just treat each and every roll as that probability. instead of trying to like as a separate probability, as opposed to like trying to like congeal and like aggregate, because the odds that you are getting, the odds that you get on the tombola are already odds presented to you as a result of aggregating probabilities, if that makes sense. Like that's already that's already been calculated into the odds. So I'm gonna guess like internally, it's all percentage based, but like in real life, right? You would probably have like, I don't know, 20 green balls, 15 bronze balls, 10 silver balls, 5 gold balls, and then 1 dragon ball. Oh. Dragon Ball. I get it. I just picked up on that. All right, we're collecting the Dragon Balls. Let's go. Anybody else who's like a stats major or something, feel free to chime in and explain it better than I can. But the way I understand it is every separate roll is a separate probability, and you cannot compound those probabilities to figure out like a quote-unquote supposed eventuality of like the result you want happening. Because that's not how it works. Like you can collect data on that, but you cannot like... There's no such thing as like eventually it'll be this. Come on, upgrade my gold ball. Fuck you. It just picks, does it just pick 2 at random? See, I have all these questions because like I'm a programmer, and believe it or not, when you're learning programming, or at least when I was learning programming, one of my classes, I had a professor who every assignment was programming a different casino game, right? So he taught us how to make this stuff, or the stuff like when you go to the casino in a Dragon Quest game, right? And you play slime poker, or you play roulette, or in some cases, in some games you might play craps, or like the slots, right? Those were his assignments. So I learned how to make casino games for one of my classes. And like there's internal logic that goes on in there, right? So like now that I'm looking at like now that I'm looking at like the results and like the upgrade bonus that happens, I'm like, okay, now I'm thinking like, are gold prizes, like when it upgrades, right? When it does that thing, is that we're going to take 2 random colors that you've pooled and upgrade them by 1 step? Is that what it's doing? Or is it drawing 2 more and replacing the ones and replacing, like, does it draw 2 more tombola prizes and then replace weaker ones with them? Because sometimes we only get 1 upgrade, but sometimes we get 2 or 3. So is it randomly deciding how many of those prizes it generates? Or does it draw a set amount and only show us that it's upgrading a certain amount of the 10 that we've already drawn if the ones we pull would be upgrades for one of the ones already in place, right? Or does it select at random a certain random amount of prizes we've pulled and then upgrade them by 1 step and just present that visually as 1 bead replacing another? You see, like, you can do that in different ways. So like now my brain is trying to figure out which way it's doing it. We're also pulling gold pretty often. We're pulling the gold bead pretty often. So I'm like, I can't imagine that the Dragon Ball is too... I can't imagine it's that much harder to get. I imagine we're just getting very unlucky. Or, and again, this is why like learning how to program and learning how these things are made is so fascinating, because it's like, okay, so now in order to get the Dragon Ball, is it a random chance? See, that upgraded without our guy doing the thing. So upgrades also just happen randomly, I guess. So like now I'm like, what I was saying is, now I'm like, okay, is the Dragon Ball possible to get just from rolling the tombola normally? Or do I need an upgrade chance, and then for that upgrade chance to affect one of the gold beads that I already have? So do I need to pull a gold bead and get an upgrade chance, and have that upgrade chance select the gold bead? Is that how that works, or is it truly just random and we've just had, you know, bad luck? And this is why you should pick up learning how to program, and just as an experiment. Once you learn, if you already know some programming, just like take any like mundane thing that has some sort of like that you assume has some sort of like model, some sort of system built into it to do a thing, right? So in this case, it's a casino game. Take a very basic game, right? Like chess or checkers. Chess might be a little too complicated, but checkers is a lot easier. For one of my school projects, I recreated Battleship and added like my own stuff to it. I added like new little mechanics and stuff with two of my classmates. We did a group project for that, right? You can do that, and like you'll probably, honestly, like if you'll spend an afternoon doing it, like on a day off just for fun. If you do that, you start to think of all this shit so differently, and you start to get curious about it. I'm such a huge advocate for people learning how code works. You don't have to learn how to do really fancy stuff, but if you learn like the very basics of coding, and like you learn like sort of like the theory, the concepts that programming utilizes, and the general tools that programming languages sort of give you as a programmer, like there's so much fun little things to think about and learn about, like how these things work. Like one of my first assignments in a program, in my very first programming course, we were working in C++, which is a fucking nightmare, by the way. If you've never touched C++, it's like it's really good when you're learning the very excuse me. It's very good when you're learning the very, very basics of programming, but whenever you got to do something advanced, more advanced, if you have to do it in C++, you're gonna tear your hair out. You're gonna lose your mind, because C++ just doesn't. It's a very rudimentary language. It doesn't have a lot of stuff. In fact, I believe Java libraries are basically just C++ libraries that people like the team that made Java as a programming language, they like hard coded a bunch of stuff to like behave in a certain way. They basically did it for you so that you wouldn't have to as a programmer. But yeah, like once you learn how, like in general, how things are programmed and like the way programmers model like objects in order to like whatever, you start to understand technology on such a much more fundamental level. And you start to understand like not just like technology, but like games. Because there's a lot of like logic and a lot of like steps, and games tend to be designed much in the same way that programs on a computer are, in which there are rules and like case uses and situations that are sort of like built into the rule set. My very first programming class, we had to program a very basic like ATM machine where you could like put in a number and take in or put out money. And then we would have to like, we had to make like a way to store that information and stuff like that. But like, you do that, and then suddenly it's like, oh, I know how an ATM kind of sort of works. Like, it's not the exact way it does. Obviously, real ATMs are much more sophisticated for 1,000 reasons. But you kind of like gain a grasp of like how things are made in software, like how software gets made. And then when you play video games, guess what? You start to like fucking, you'll play a video game and you'll be like, oh, I wonder how they did that. And because you have like even like a surface level idea of how it works, you can like sort of, I don't know, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun to be curious and like take the control, it's the future version of taking apart the remote control to see how it works and putting it back together again. That's a really old reference. That's like a thing people used to like brag about when I was younger. When I was really young, when I was like 6 or 7 years old, kids that were like a little bit older than me, like at 5 or 6 or 7 years older than me, would be like, oh yeah, I know how to take apart a remote control for the TV and put it back together again. And that was like sort of like a bragging right to be like, look, I understand like how these things work. And I'm savvy with technology. But that's the modern thing. Knowing how to code, knowing how things are programmed and stuff. That's that equivalent. And then once you do that, like you look at things different. Not in like a super like crazy way, but like in a way that like you get more interested in it. You get more invested in it. There's more things to think about and more things to be impressed by. I can't believe we haven't gotten it yet. Is there like a hard set rule where you have to spend a certain amount of tombola tickets before the Dragon Ball has a chance of dropping? See, things like that. Things like that. Like I wouldn't think that unless I were thinking about how it was programmed. And it's like, oh, okay, do they have like stipulations? Is there like a switch or an if-else statement or some kind of thing that checks for a certain thing to happen before this certain thing can happen? Come on. Ah, bummer. It's not what I wanted. We might not even stream. I might not even save this VOD. I'm gonna be so honest. I might just like not upload this VOD. And then just act like we didn't do anything. This is the last one. For posterity, you have to save the gambling stream. I know it wouldn't be a GC Vasquez stream. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. We were so close. At least upgrade some of these green ones, man. Come on. Why am I doing this, you might say? Well, it's a great way to kill a couple of hours. But also, if I get it, it'd be cool as hell. The Super Rare Dragon Ball does what? You get a loyalty card that discounts all of your purchases. So all shop items are cheaper. Yeah, that's why I want it. That's why I want it. Because it's worth it. For 10 tombola tickets, I can save money starting now? Yeah. I'm still early enough in the game where that's probably going to be very useful to me. So let's make it happen. It would be funny, though, if I get the loyalty card and then I... Yes! Mwah, mwah, mwah. Give me what I earned. All right, so... Yeah, so it's a discount. I don't know how big of a discount. I think it might be 20%. Or 25%. Hold on, we're gonna do a second save and then I'm gonna reload another save to figure it out. So medicinal herb was 6 gold with it. With the loyalty card, the medicinal herb is 6 gold. I'm pretty sure without it, it's 8 gold. Because if it's not worth it, we're just going to reload. And I'll go get a Dragon Ball somewhere else. It's 20%. It's 20%. It's 20% because this went from 8 to 6 and this went from 2700 to 2160. So it is a steep discount on all items. Although the Moonwort Bulb was only 26 gold. Weird. Hold on, I'm gonna screen cap this. Now we're gonna reload. It might not be flat 20 from all items. Like, it literally might depend. There are other Dragon Balls in other regions, correct? Every Tombola prize, every Tombola stand has a different Dragon Ball prize. 24. Yeah, 30 divided by 6 is 5. So yeah, it is 20%. It is 20% across all items. That's a big discount. That is a big discount. Now that hold on, I'm gonna compare them because I swear it's not like the same each time. 5%, 20% of 1800. Sorry, 20% of 1500 is 300. Steel broadsword went from 1500 to 1200. Okay. 20% of 1300 would be about 260. Yeah. Yeah, that's 20%. That's wild. Please tell me you saved. Of course I did. We're in the loyalty card save. See? I got it. Hell yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, back to Cole. Cool with me. It's cool with me. Hello, stranger. Welcome to Cole. Have you come to enjoy the soothing waters of our baths? Oh, yes. I'm from London. Sorry. Is there a mini medal here? Yeah. Look, I I swear to God, I don't look this shit up before I start the stream. I promise that's just guesswork. It's all guesswork. it just makes sense to me for that to be there, okay? I've been wrong about some of them, I think. Oh, we can go in here. Might as well acquainted with heroes, not only he who did Vanguard's Vanguard, but the one who came before him also. At least so I was raised to believe. I know not the truth of such tales. When I am grown, I too shall take to smithing. Yes. Well, at least they know who the guy before was. I think that's the first time someone's clarified that, yes, we know there was like a guy before Erdrick that we know of, who is also Erdrick, but I don't think they know that it was also Erdrick. And it would make sense that they would know that here. In the Dragon Quest I land, where that story is probably more strongly told. Anything here where the flute used to be? I feel like you should put a mini medal where the flute used to be, just like it's a little nod to people who remember that it was here. Okay, let me walk in slowly. Let me see if I stand still long enough if the characters do anything. There should have been an achievement for doing this for like 10 seconds. They should have given you like some kind of achievement for doing this for this long. That's my opinion. And there should have been a mini medal inside the spring, if there wasn't going to be one where the mini medal used to be. I wouldn't doubt if a future Dragon Quest game will be about the first hero from Dragon Quest XI. The Luminary. The Luminary is not a hero. Remember, he's the Luminary. Oh, no, you're actually being correct. No, yeah, Erdwin. If we're going to get a story about Erdwin. I don't think we will. Within the deepest, darkest recesses of one such hall dwell not some of the hero's closest companions. I am yet to meet one who calls a cave their home. The mind boggles to imagine what sort would live in such a fashion. What is this a reference to? Is this a reference to the Mini Metal King from 3? Who lived in a cave? I'm not sure. Because he called them his closest companion, and I'm like, I wouldn't say they were close. Oh, is there a mini medal back here? See, again, missed opportunity. I would have put one there. Let's talk to the old guy. Our fair tale share the ball and unbreakable, the legendary Erdrick. I myself am engaged in passing on his legend, specifically the fashion in which he fought. Alas, as time continued in its unrelenting march, the finer details of his techniques have been lost. Now only their names remain. Beast Bopper, Double Dragon Slash, Pearly Gates, Quadra Slash, Lightning Thrust, Air Slash, the list goes on. Perhaps only those of the heroes line can make sense of these ancient expressions. Yeah, with the sigils. Those are all sigil moves. Well, we've explored Cole, and there's no Puff Puff here. So let's leave. That's not an exit. That's just a tree. I wonder if the fairies are still here. Are the fairies all gone? Eventually the fairies do all die out, if I remember right. Or like they go to... If we are to assume that all of Dragon Quest is on one like land, which could be true because I've done the work for that. I've done the work on that. you can kind of make it work. But if the worlds of Dragon Quest are all connected, which if anything from this remake has told me, I think they might be doing that with the Zenithian trilogy that they will inevitably put out in HD 2D style. That's my speculation. I don't know for sure. What the hell was I even talking about? It's all gone. I literally don't remember why I started this train of thought. Yo, Unk is cooked, man. What the hell was I talking about? What the hell was I talking about? Somebody remind me. Why did I start talking about this? All Dragon Quest games are connected somehow. Mini Metal King in a cave. What the hell was I on about? Oh, the fairies. So, assuming that these games are all connected, right? Which I think is what they're trying to like gear up to do, is to cement that connection more clearly in the HD2D remakes of 4, 5, and 6. Because 8 is already connected to 3. 8 is already connected to the original Dragon Quest world via certain small references. And one big one that loosely connects it. It's not like deeply connected, but it loosely connects it together. Eventually, if you look at it from that perspective, then the fairies in this game eventually migrate to the world tree. And they become the Zenithians, more or less. Either they become the Zenithians, or the Scions of Erdrick become, like the Erdrick bloodline becomes, they become the Zenithians, or they go with the fairies to Yggdrasil, and they become the Zenithians, or something like that. Would be like the way to make sense of it. I am doing a U right now. You're right. You're right. So like, if you were to connect the worlds together, either that's the case, or at some point a Scion of Erdrick has a child. At some point, the fairies become the Zenithians, and a Scion of Erdrick who still lives in the realm of man has a child with a Zenithian, and that is the character of Dragon Quest IV. And then that bloodline eventually leads to the character of Dragon Quest V. And I believe Dragon Quest VI is a prequel to Dragon Quest IV and V. I know that for sure. Dragon Quest VI takes place before the events of 4 and 5. Because in Dragon Quest VI, you pilot the Flying Castle? Or rather, Zenithian Castle is not... Zenithian Castle is not, it's not worn down yet. Like it is in 4. Dragon Quest VI is GC's favorite Dragon Quest game. You know, actually, I have a friend, she's playing through Dragon Quest VI, and she was like, this is really good. And then, like, I have other friends who are like, yeah, Dragon Quest VI is good. And I'm sitting there like, am I crazy? Am I gonna have to replay Dragon Quest VI and feel like an idiot? like, was I wrong? I mean, it'd be great if I was wrong, because it would mean there's literally no bad Dragon Quest game. Like, if anybody wants there to be a reality where there are no bad Dragon Quest games, it's this guy. Has she played the other games? I think she's played a few. She's played more than a few. I think she played 5. And I think she played 4. I could be remembering incorrectly, but I'm pretty sure she played 4 already. But yeah. I personally think Dragon Quest 6 is okay. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at with it. Like, in all seriousness, I think it's just okay. But like, I remember there being a lot of really like lame, like Neven doesn't need to be there. Okay, Nevin, whatever the fuck his name is. Who give a fuck? Like literally no. Like not like a good standout character for a Dragon Quest game. Like, not an exciting character in the slightest for a Dragon Quest game. Like, I bet you don't even know who I mean when I say Neven or Nevin. Like, you don't know who I'm fucking talking about. Persona and Devil Summoner are in the same universe. Well, I mean, SMT is a different story. Because as you have to remember, SMT is a multiverse timeline sort of deal where events from one game results in pocket worlds being created as an experiment between stuff. So like it is literally like demons like fucking around with like humanity and stuff like that. So like Persona is literally just Philemon and the other guy, the yellow guy, Nyarlathotep, having a fucking like domestic about the human condition and whether or not human beings are capable of like overcoming their like stupid crap. And then Raido Kuzunoha sort of is difficult to place because Raido literally also shows up in SMT3 as a guest character. So like it seems less that Raido like connects worlds and more just that Raido Kuzunoha is sort of like a persistent element in several different multiverses. Raido is also a title, that is true. But it is definitely the same guy in a lot of cases. So like it's possible that Raido is less of like a connective tissue and more of just like a persistent element in all of these different worlds that are created by the demons and by like the events of what I assume is SMT3. Like I'm pretty sure SMT3 is like the beginning of like the plot. When I was like first getting into SMT and Persona and like checking it out to see if it'd be something I'd be interested in, I saw like a big like I saw someone's like basically their like the way they made sense of it, right? And I really liked the way it was organized because like it didn't seem like a stretch. It just seemed like a decent, it seemed like a very decent like take. Because usually when I look at timelines, I roll my eyes to the back of my head and I'm like, oh god, okay, whatever. But like when I saw this one, I was like, no, this kind of like makes a lot of sense. I was like, no, this kind of makes a lot of sense. Like, oh, okay, so like, because once you get into like the thing of like, there are elements of Shin Megami Tensei where there are stories in Shin Megami Tensei where a character literally recreates a world. Like they literally create their own version of like some pre-existing thing to do with what they will, right? Like that's literally the plot of like a ton of SMT games where it's like, oh yeah, like you're not like this is because somebody got kind of like cute about like the state of things or whatever. So like it's not really a stretch to just take those details, to extrapolate those finer details from it, and form like some sort of timeline where it's like, yes, the events of this game influence the existence of this world that this game takes place in, or whatever. I gotta pull that thing out because I really like that timeline. I really like the way it was set up, where it's like, and also that's what interested me about SMT is that it's not a timeline in the sense of that you need to know all of these things in order to enjoy these games, or that like this is vitally important for understanding anything in the SMT franchise. This is literally, it's literally just like a fun way of like connecting the games in like very small ways to like sort of get a feel for like this broader story that's being told without that necessarily mattering. And I think I like that. And at the time I was kind of annoyed by the Zelda timeline stuff, where I was just kind of like really frustrated with like discussion about Zelda timeline stuff. And when I looked at the timeline for SMT that this person had made, I was like, I actually really like this, because this is sort of way more straightforward and way less complicated, despite the fact that it does have like a more verbose like explanation for things. But like ultimately it's like it didn't feel like anybody was arguing for like where something was in the timeline. It was just sort of like it was almost like just like a little helpful guide for understanding like sort of like the lasting impact of certain games on others. And it was just people connecting Easter eggs together in an Easter egg way. Whereas the Zelda timeline eventually became canonized, and so every Easter egg stopped being an Easter egg and it just started being like fodder for people to talk about it on the internet. I don't hate the Zelda timeline, I'll be honest. Like I like the idea of the Zelda games all being connected. Like Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, all being connected in some way, shape, or form is cool to me. I like that, right? I don't hate that. Breath of the Wild, sorry, not Breath of the Wild, Skyward Sword being like an origin point for the series, right? Like sort of just explaining the mythos, like like a game that literally is like telling you the story of how the mythos of the Legend of Zelda was established, right? That's cool to me. And also it is a very like it works for multiple people, because for people who care about the timeline, right? For people who really care about the timeline. Oh, this is okay. I'm misreading the map. For people who really care about the Zelda timeline, Skyward Sword is the first one, right? And you can just be like, oh, it's the first one. You know, great, awesome. Like, cool. You get to see how they establish the mythos of the Legend of Zelda and why these characters persist, you know, across several games. But for people who enjoy looking at the Legend of Zelda as exactly that, a legend in which every time you tell the story it changes a little bit, you get a sort of like Skyward Sword is also just like a very different retelling of that story, or it's like a part of the legend that isn't talked about, you know, and that's cool from that perspective. The problem that I have with the Zelda timeline is that you can no longer, in Zelda, you can no longer do Easter eggs. You can no longer reuse existing elements from previous Zelda games. You can no longer use recognizable elements in a Zelda game without somebody like trying to canonize the relationship between two different Zelda games in a way that feels less like a fun exercise in cataloging Easter eggs, and instead feels just like a it almost feels like people need to know how this affects the Zelda timeline in order to gauge whether or not they like the Zelda game. Where I have genuinely heard people go, I don't like this game because of what it does to the Zelda timeline. And like, they don't mean what it does to like the way we perceive the Zelda timeline. Because if you want to argue that you don't like Skyward Sword because it canonized this idea of a timeline, or it was around that time that Nintendo did that, you know, that's fair, right? Because you can definitely be like annoyed by timeline discussions, right? But like, they don't say it like that. They don't mean it like that. What they mean is, I don't like how this complicates the timeline. And that kind of infuriates me. Because if tomorrow Nintendo decides that the timeline doesn't matter, who cares? Who cares? If the next Zelda game is a 10 out of 10 experience, what do I care if it ruins the timeline? We were connecting those games together with bubblegum and paper clips before Nintendo came around and just canonized and they didn't confirm anything. They literally took what people were saying about a supposed Zelda timeline on the internet, and they just took the things that they liked about what people were saying. Like, they took like popular theories and canonized popular theories. That's what they did. Okay, and like, there are some examples of like certain Zelda games being direct sequels to other ones, but like, not all of them were actually that deeply connected until Nintendo decided to do that, right? And they didn't do it. It wasn't like people. I think people I think people genuinely think that Nintendo's had like a secret document where they were like doing the timeline. They're like, yes, but we cannot tell anybody. We cannot tell anybody officially that these games are connected. That, you know, chaos would erupt in the streets. No, they heard that people cared about a Zelda timeline, looked on the internet to just basically rip off other people who were speculating about it, and then they made that official information. They just decided, yeah, we'll go with what you're saying. You know? Yeah, we'll go with what you're saying. Yeah. The original Zelda is the timeline where like Link fails to like save people at some point or whatever. Or A Link to the Past is the timeline where like in the original Zelda the hero fails. Yeah, sure, whatever. You know, like that's what they did. That's what they did. That's 100% what they did. Because they literally ripped the fucking timeline off of like a game theory video. And you can sit there and you can be like, no, MatPat's just really good at doing game theory videos. And I would say Nessa Sans is a ludicrous video that proves that he's literally just trying to have fun with something. And like, he's not seriously like trying to like debunk and like, you know, find secrets that are like things. It's literally like, it's in the name of the show. Like, it's a theory. It's just like a headcanon, essentially. That's all it is. Like, I don't know. But that's when I get upset about Zelda timeline stuff, is when people want to evaluate a Zelda game based on what it does to the grander Zelda timeline. As opposed to like, you know, how it handles those elements in terms of like, again, like in terms like not in terms of like, hey, I don't think they should have canonized this. I don't think they, like, if somebody tells me I don't think they should have told people or I don't think they should have designed Skyward Sword to be like a definitive like starting point for the Zelda timeline. I think they should have just continued to just keep things ambiguous, and I don't think Skyward Sword should have been designed and marketed as like the origin point. That's a fair take, because, and then I would ask why, and they would probably, and hopefully, right, they'd be like, well, because like it turned discussion about Zelda games into like timeline discussions, and now nobody talks about the games themselves and like what the games themselves are doing or what they're about. It's all about super like surface level details, as opposed to like, hey, you know, when you think about like how Majora's Mask, right? Everybody has a different take on what Majora's Mask is about, right? Because Majora's Mask is a really cool game that due to the way its storytelling is done and due to the just the way that game is made, you know, it has a very unique story and with like very like unique storytelling elements that allow people to take a lot of different things from it. It's cool. That game literally does nothing for the timeline. It literally does nothing for the Zelda timeline, right? But like, it's beloved and people talk about it, and they talk about the content of the work. They talk about what Majora's Mask says, what Majora's Mask does. They talk about Majora's Mask in terms of like its own thing, as opposed to, you know, how it contributes to like this surface level timeline shit that doesn't fucking matter, you know? Like that's when people stop talking about Zelda games as what they are, and they start getting really wound up into like, what does this mean for the chronological order of events in the Legend of Zelda series? I lose my mind. You shouldn't care. I don't think Nintendo cares either, because from what I understand, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, if they belong on a timeline, happen so far into the future of that world that basically all possible timelines have converged, right? If I understand it correctly, that's how Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom handle it. And I think there's people that are even saying that apparently Tears of the Kingdom is not even a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild, that it's actually a different Link and Zelda entirely. Like they're not even like related to the Breath of the Wild ones. Which frankly I think is a little absurd, but you know, like to prove the point, like I think like they literally designed Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom to be so ambiguous and so like they just converged everything so that like people would stop talking about the stupid timeline. Because it's not important. It's fun to think about, and I think Nintendo thought it would be fun to sort of just explore that in like a more, you know, casual way, or like, you know, make one game that's like, oh yeah, here's like an origin story thing. But like, I don't think they wanted people to just like ignore everything else about those games. When Breath of the Wild came out, I was so pissed. One, because I don't think Breath of the Wild is that strong of a video game compared to other Zelda experiences. I think it's a great 7 out of 10 experience, which is still good. I just, you know, I was vastly underwhelmed, significantly underwhelmed by it. But like more frustrating to that feeling that I had was that nobody was talking about that fucking, like people were not talking about Breath of the Wild with like, people were not talking about Breath of the Wild in terms of like what that game was doing. Like they didn't want to talk about like how well it was doing the things it was doing. They just wanted to glaze it for like doing something different without like really interrogating how it was doing those things. And then also they were just obsessed with like looking for hints about where the game fell on the timeline. And that was basically the entirety of Breath of the Wild discussion. People were like, wow, like Nintendo people were like, oh my god, the world is open. Oh my god, your weapons degrade over time. Oh my god, you can like go wherever you want. Even though the original Legend of Zelda did that, even though open world games have been doing that for forever, even though Fallout New Vegas and other open world games had weapon degradation for a super long amount of time, and even though literally the marketing points that Shigeru Miyamoto and Eiji Aonuma were saying about Breath of the Wild during the fucking Nintendo Directs and the presentations they were doing were literally the same talking points that Todd Howard was using to market Skyrim. You see that mountain over there? You can go there. That was literally something they said. It was literally, I think it was either Miyamoto or Aonuma that said that in the thing. And I was sitting there listening to that going, yeah, Todd Howard said that about Skyrim. Like they're literally just, they're just repeating Skyrim's marketing points. Word for word. Word for word. So like I played Breath of the Wild and they're like, oh, the physics mechanics. And I was like, yeah, you can get there's a lot of, that was the other thing. Sorry, this is now about Breath of the Wild and why I don't think it's that great. And then people were like, oh wow, like you can like set fire to the grass and create wind. And I'm like, yeah, you can do very similar things in like physics-based indie games. Like they have been doing that for a long time. Physics-based indie games that where you like alter things to do thing had been around for a while already. And that's like the thing that like it aggravated the hell out of me, because I was like, am I the only fucking person? Like it felt like I was like, am I the only fucking person that has ever played like I was like, I was obsessed. I was losing my mind because like all the Nintendo YouTubers, all the YouTubers that I watched at the time, like a lot of people that I knew, friends that I had, were like seriously just like really fucking obsessed with this fucking game. And I was just like, we gotta like I need to look at a list of the games you've played recently. I'll give you the fact that Breath of the Wild looks pretty. But like I'm sitting there and I'm playing this fucking game and I'm like, yeah, I've done this before. I've seen this before. I've seen this done better. Depending on what we're talking about in this game, like I've seen this done better. Oh, the physics puzzles in Breath of the Wild. I mean, like, I don't know how to tell people this, but like, those physics puzzles were basically what every physics puzzle game on Steam had been for fucking years. Like I've been setting enemies on fire for, oh, but if you do fire, you can do like an updraft. That's cool. I'll give that to you. That's cool. But like and I think it's very funny that like when I was talking about Breath of the Wild back when it was like out, and I was like, this is kind of not that cool. People were like, what? You're crazy. Like, well, you're just being a hater. Never mind the fact that I am a huge Zelda fan and I grew up on Zelda, and I am a Nintendo kid and I grew up with Nintendo exclusively as a child. I did not own a PlayStation 2 until I was 15. Sorry, not 15. That's an exaggeration. Until I was like 12 or 13 years old. I didn't own a PS2 until after the PS2's life. Like, what year was it? I think it was like 2005. I didn't own a PS2 until very late in its life cycle. Like I was, people were telling me, people were going, GC, you're nuts. This is one of the best games ever made of all time. This is legendary. And I went, I don't like, and I thought I was going nuts. And then lo and behold, Lo and behold, when Tears of the Kingdom came out, guess what they did? They fixed my problem with the weapon degradation system. And you know what they did? They did what I said they should have done in Breath of the Wild when it came out. I said the weapon degradation system is kind of ass because you can't take similar weapons and patch up the weapon you have. And you should be able to do that because that means you're still looking for other weapons and you're taking up inventory space for those weapons that you could be using for good weapons, and you're using it instead to keep this one weapon. And the trade-off is that yes, you have access to this one weapon for longer, but you lose access to other weapons that might be better to use against other enemies. You know, they should have done it like that. Because Fallout New Vegas does it like that, where in Fallout New Vegas, if you have a gun you like, you keep guns, you keep the same kind of gun on you, or you actively look for guns of the same type to repair your existing weapon with, because if you can keep your weapon in good condition, it'll last longer, it won't break, and you can keep using it, and you know, you don't lose the damage trade-off, right? Like of trying to have to use the new weapon. But the trade-off is that if you carry around, like if I have a hunting rifle that I want to keep and I carry around like 6 or 9 other hunting rifles in my inventory, that weighs me down. That's why that game's weight system works really well. Breath of the Wild should have just done that, because your limited inventory space is literally just a less complex weight system, right? You have a limited amount of space. No, did you see, you're crazy, whatever. Guess what they did in Tears of the Kingdom? What can you do in Tears of the Kingdom? That's right. If your weapon is about to break, you can fuse an object to it to repair its durability. Wow. It's almost as if this was already something that people were doing. And it's almost as if Nintendo looked at the game and went, oh yeah, that could have been better. Let's fix it. Unfortunately, we still have shrines in Tears of the Kingdom. But at least they're a lot more interesting than the ones in Breath of the Wild, because they're way more physics-based and not, like, lame. I don't know. Shrines. I still think there's way too many fucking shrines in those games. That's another thing. Sorry. You've opened the can of worms. Genie's out of the bottle on this one. Another thing that really bothered me about Breath of the Wild discussion is that the same people that I would see complain about Ubisoft open worlds just being a checklist game where you have to check things off a list and then you go beat the game, where it's like, oh, none of the side stuff actually like really fits into like the main progression that well, right? Those same people that were complaining about that in Ubisoft open world games were glazing the shit out of Breath of the Wild's shrines. And when people would criticize the fact that there's way too many shrines in the game, they would go, oh, well, you don't have to do all of them. You know, it's totally optional. If you want, you can go fight Ganon with only 3 hearts and like a wooden stick. Never mind the fact that it's like, there's no fucking way in hell you're going to beat that with a wooden stick and 3 hearts. Maybe if you're a speedrunner, but like, obviously most people don't do that. Second of all, it's not side content. It's part of the main story. They tell you to do shrines as soon as you see them. They give you a tool to look for more shrines as you journey on your adventures. They stress the importance of finding shrines to become stronger. Shrines are not optional. Shrines are a main part of the game. If you're not doing shrines, what are you doing? The 4 dungeons that the game has? The 4 dungeons that the game has? Come on. Come on. What are we saying? What are we saying? Oh, they don't expect you to do all of them. Do they? Do they? How many shrines do I have to do to get the Master Sword? Are you telling me getting the Master Sword is an optional thing in a Legend of Zelda game? And that's fine?
Do not fret.
I'm just like, the fucking discourse about Breath of the Wild when it came out was so aggravating because it was so obvious that people were just enamored with the fact that it was Zelda. And that's fine. As long as you go, I hate open world games, but I fuck with this one because it's Zelda. You can say that. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Okay? I might judge you and be like, well, what do you don't like about open world games? Because there's a lot of open world games that I would consider better than Breath of the Wild. And I can recommend them to you, and maybe you will like them. But don't fucking sit there and go, oh, this is like the greatest game of all time. Wow, so ingenious. Nintendo has done it again. It's like you have never fucking once played an actual open world game, have you? And lo and behold, now everybody is like on the other side of the fence with it, where it's like, oh yeah, Nintendo making all of their games open world sucks actually, and like they keep doing the same shit in every one of their AAA games, and actually these mechanics aren't actually that interesting, and they're kind of boring, and they're kind of grueling, and like really like tedious, and I don't like it. And it's like, yeah. You want to know when that opinion would have mattered a lot more? Back when they put out Breath of the Wild, and you could have been evaluating it based on those things. And then maybe they wouldn't have turned every game they've ever put out in the last like 10 years since Breath of the Wild. Maybe not all of them would have been open world games. Is that judgmental? Am I being judgmental? Yes, but in my defense, I saw a Northern Lion short where he was talking about this, and he was like, am I judgmental? Maybe, but you are also just as judgmental as I am. And I think he's right. And I think he's right about that. I might be judgmental, but I am not alone. I am not alone in being judgmental. Did I get all the treasure? I did. Wow. I'm so good at this game. Get you someone who can talk massive shit and still sweep a dungeon room for goodies. Not even trying. Ah, fuck. Actually, no, we're gonna Undead Undo. And we're gonna Roundhouse Kick, and we're going to swoosh. Fuck you. Don't. Okay. Okay.
That was close.
Wheesh.
I shall sweep you aside.
This is why I love GC streams. We've hit the 2-hour mark. Oh, it's time for Jackbox. Well, we're almost done with the story beat. I can be a little late. The faintest of drafts can be felt coming from somewhere nearby. That's how you spell draft, by the way. At least in the UK. Oh, there's no more treasure on this floor. I don't know why I'm, like, compulsively looking for a mini medal. There isn't one. We should heal? That was sort of like a unoptimized heal, but that's okay. We're almost at the end of this, like, little bit here, so... I'll keep the stream going until we get there. I'm glad you like the GC streams where he goes crazy and loses his mind. I'm glad. I legitimately don't know if that's entertaining. I legitimately don't know if I'm entertaining as a streamer. But I will continue to voice my hot takes and sound crazy until, you know, until I earn enough overwhelming confirmation that I got something going on. I do have to work on my posture while I'm streaming, though. I think I need a new chair. I think once I get a work and I moved in and stuff, I think the first couple of things I want to buy is a brand new chair for the office, brand new office chair for my desk space. Thank you for the posture check. I think I also want to maybe upgrade my computer monitors because I kind of want to check out 1440p gaming. Oh, but before I do that, I would have to upgrade my graphics card for sure. Because I have a 4070 right now, but I don't feel comfortable playing games at 1440p with a 4070. I just don't think it's worth it. I also don't think my 4070 is that good. Like I would need... I'm the kind of guy that buys a 4K setup to play in 1440p. And I would buy a 1440p setup to play at 1080p. Like, I'm that kind of person. Because I believe that... Because I personally believe that if you want your tech to last you longer, that's how you should sort of do it. I swear to God it's here somewhere, but I'll just pretend that I didn't see it. And then we'll come back for the treasure at some point. But we're missing a treasure on this floor. And I didn't find it. And it's bothering the hell out of me. Once we get Snoop, we'll do that. Oh fuck, we have like way more to go. No, I think we'll have to call it here, unfortunately. Because by the this is gonna take at least another half hour, I think. So instead, oh wait, can I quick save? Doesn't this game have a quick save? Excellent. So now I can load from my quick save. Am I right about that? Yes. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you all for joining me on this kooky crazy stream, everybody. I'm gonna go play some games with my friends and probably do some finalization on some admin work I gotta do. Maybe touch up my resume one more time. And yeah, we will be back tomorrow. I'm not writing tomorrow, so we might stream earlier tomorrow, or I might try to keep it around the same time. I don't know how y'all feel about that, if you would prefer me to stream earlier in the morning or later at night. I might do a YouTube poll about that. If you're watching the VOD, it'll be on the main channel, where I'll go ahead and do sort of like a time range poll to see when people would prefer that I stream. And then I'll try to aim for those times, because I get people that show up in the morning, and then I get people that show up like in the afternoon, and then I get people that show up at night. But I feel like if I can get like a consensus of when the most people are around, and like when they would most prefer to show up to streams, I think then I can kind of like build a better schedule around it, because I do want to get better about streaming and be more consistent, especially now that we got a lot of Dragon Quest content coming out. And there are a couple things that I would like to stream. Anyway, until next time, folks, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you then. So bye-bye.